And we are live. Gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Mecca of Banter podcast. I am this week's host, Henry Wind. You can find me on Twitter at Henry Wind. It's a great week to be a Manchester United fan, ladies and gentlemen. We got the preseason underway. Ineos are cooking. I cannot wait for Dobes to be back on this podcast, and the United Corner can really start talking because it looks like Ineos are doing some fun things in the transfer window. Finally. And we'll get to hear about that because the Prem's only about 4 weeks away. What is it, 3.5 weeks now? First game kicks off on the 16th, maybe, of August. So I'm stoked. But we're not here to talk Prem, ladies and gentlemen. No, we are not. We are here to talk St. Louis City. And there's no one better to talk St. Louis City in this city than the two gentlemen that I am joined by tonight. Lucas Winkleman, how you doing, big dog?
What's up, gentlemen? Good to see y'all. Yeah, I feel like it's been a couple weeks since I've been on here doing a lot of traveling for work lately and leaving on Wednesday for another one, but thankfully I can be here on this fine Monday. Yeah, I know we'll dive into it, but another disappointing game to watch from the boys in City Red. But you kind of hit the nail on the head. I think just looking forward to. I wasn't looking forward to the end of the Prem season last season because we were in a good spot. But I am looking forward to the end of this MLS season to start fresh.
You before next Prem season starts off, I'll let you just pick out any bottle you want, any of it. And it'll be like one of those time capsule things. You'll choose the bottle. It'll be perfect. I'll put it on the shelf. And with about 4 weeks left in the season, I'll give it right back to you. Because most likely that's what's going to happen.
We'll see if KDB's gone, like the rumors are spewing.
He was gone all first half of the season. Didn't change anything,
I know.
But alas, Andy Hoover, how are you doing? Good to see you back.
Hey, yeah, missed last week, which is unlike me. I have a pretty good track record of being on this podcast, so I pride myself on that. I don't do the most on the back end by any means, but I am, if anything, I am a personality, and I like to make sure to give that to the team every week. But, yep, Young Yet on Twitter. Spurs Twitter over summer is still pretty funny. Transfer speculation and a lot of rewatching Sonny's missed goal against Manchester City in the end of last year, so a lot of laughs, a lot of good laughs on that end. But I do enjoy being on the same side as Winks because he's one of the only Arsenal fans that I really, truly respect and love like a brother. So it's fun to chat. As friends, it's nice to banter here and there. But look, happy to be here. Appreciate it. Let's rip it.
If you guys want me to leave, I can. If you guys just want to continue your date just on this Monday night, I can just leave.
You're the middleman for this date. You're the narrator.
I guess. I mean, nothing wrong with that, I suppose. Facilitating. Well, gentlemen, before we dive into to St. Louis City, I want to remind you that smooth sack summer is officially upon us. Whether you're playing in the summer sun, make sure you are groomed from pubes to bum. Thanks to our friends over at Manscaped, you can get this season. You can make this season your smoothest yet. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate bundle to keep your boys downstairs cool while looking hot. Join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Get 20% off and free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use promo code MECCA20. That's MECCA20. Summertime and trimming is easy. Now, Hoover, be honest. When you traveled, did you bring Manscaped products with you on your trip?
Products, yes. Not the razor. I don't know how TSA feels about the razor. I've not even tried.
They'd probably be like, "Oh,
I bring it every time."
Cool,
they don't care.
Good.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's
carry on. No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no. I mean, the amount of times we talk
I was
about
about to say, like, you heard it here first. Manscaped products are TSA approved. I'm
TSA
like, I don't know if
approved.
we can get sued for that. I don't know. Like, I'm sure it's somewhere in the contract. We can't say that.
The amount of times we talked about this ball deodorant's embarrassing at this point because, I mean, it's really that good. It really is. It's really that positive. Like, I got big homies. I myself am I have big man tendencies.
Hey, now.
So with those tendencies come certain things that are, just swept up by the ball deodorant. So just, throwing it out there. Don't sleep.
Especially with how much we're playing indoor or running it. It's an important piece to it, and I think that we've talked about it before, but prior to finding out about Manscaped and all their great products, I never put anything like that on.
Yeah.
Didn't know deodorant for that that part of my body existed. So the fact that we found out about it and now are using it consistently, it's a game changer.
We do need to remind the listeners that we do actually ball. We're not just cats up here.
We're not just armchair experts. Yeah,
We don't just talk about it.
We don't just talk about it. We be about it.
We be about it.
Oh, yeah.
We be about it.
We ball so hard. For our listeners that we listen week over week, that I got shoulder surgery a couple months ago. I'm officially cleared to kick a ball again. I can juggle, I can pass. I just can't play. So I'm the recovery. I'm coming back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna be a new man in 2 months' time. I'm excited to do that. But gents, let's talk St. Louis City. Enough about Andy Hoover's balls. Let's talk St. Louis City. A double match. You said we got big homies. I'm like, all right, what are we talking here, bro? What are we talking?
Big homies.
Come on, big homies. Double match week. I wish it wasn't, but it sure was. We had a 2-0 loss in Seattle and then a 1-1 tie in Kansas City. Different, but kind of the same games. Let's start off with the 2-0 loss to Seattle. Now, I think sometimes it's hard on a double match week to go back and jog your memory almost a week ago to how it felt in the moment. First off, it was a late game. It was a late one. I believe it was a 9:30 kickoff Central Time, which makes it just really hard to watch. Makes it even harder to watch when the team performs the way that they did. I think for me, it was game off at halftime, watching the second half the next day whenever I could, just because there wasn't really anything redeeming about the game. I think I literally wrote that at halftime right before I went to bed. I was making notes for this pod. I said absolutely nothing redeeming about this game. You look at Tim Parker's own goal. I think that's just how it's been this season, man. I just don't think that we're getting any bounces our way. And to make matters worse, we lose Nilsson again. He goes down with yet another injury to the hamstring. Unless there is an even crazier minutes restriction on the bench for someone like Josh Yarrow or Michael Wenzel, you never let Nilsson go 90 minutes in that game. He's just coming back from a hamstring injury. And of course, it's in the 85th minute that he looks like he damages that hamstring again. So to me, this one just felt entirely like a throwaway game. It felt like the boys weren't into it. It felt like Hackworth wasn't into it. It felt like the fans weren't into it based on, what I was seeing during the game and after the game. It felt like a game that just didn't really matter. And we don't have those kind of games to give. We don't have any more games that we can just say, oh, fuck it, we'll get the next one. It's just how it felt as a fan.
In what world are we letting Nilsson go 90 minutes, bro? What have we learned from this season and last? We're gonna play him one game with a 30 minutes restriction and then just let him go 90.
And it's weird to me too because we're consistently using most if not all of our subs every single game. So at what point does that not enter the conversation? In the meeting room with the coaching staff when they're strategizing tactics for a game. We're going to be using all our subs. Why don't we allot one of those to? I know a lot of it is situation based, but that should be a pre-planned sub.
And don't let a player sway your decision on that. I understand Nilsson's probably I got 90, I'm good. I want to play. They all want to play. That's how this goes. Don't take their word for it. We haven't learned a thing from just rushing this guy back from an injury and getting him on the pitch. I say, don't use him the rest of the year. Make sure that he's not used the rest of the year. That doesn't make sense at all. I want this guy to be the motor that we've seen him, be maybe 5 of the however many games he's played because he's been injured.
So that brings up an interesting point. He is one of our DPs. He's played so few games, and when he does play, it seems like he's just one step away from getting injured. And we can't gloss over the fact that in the first season, he missed the vast majority of the season. And when he came in, I don't think it was his fault. Like, we obviously see the quality that he has on the ball. We see the quality that he has tracking guys down. But our defense got shattered when he started coming into the 11. So I wonder, at what point do you just chalk it up as like, hey, maybe we just need to part ways with this guy? Like, I think that that's almost where I am, and I love Nilsson. Like, I think he's quality, but like, for one of our DP slots on a team that very badly needs reinforcements, we can't be spending a DP slot on someone who's consistently injured.
And that can be applied to, any team in any league too. Like,
Yeah.
first one that comes to my mind is, Reece James. Like, when he's healthy, he's one of the best wingbacks in the world, and but they're paying him a lot of money, and he can never play. So it's like, at what point do you just
paying him a ton of money to just ride the bike at the training facility? Like, I agree, and that scares me because Jake from Australia is not the replacement.
No.
Like, and I've seen, we're rumored with attacking players, and yes, we need attacking players too. We need players all over the pitch at this point. Like, do you not play him the rest of the year and hope? I don't even know what his contract looks like, frankly.
I think there's one more year. I think he signed a 3-year. I can Google it while you're talking.
I think a 3 years a great trial period for a guy like Nilsson. And yes, you can catch the injury bug, and again, this is not against him. He is our best center back. I don't think there's any question in that. Despite whatever the hell Taylor Twellman spits out on Twitter, that guy's a fool. If he watches these games with his own 2 eyes, he'd understand that he's not the problem. But he likes to point out our record when Nilsson's on the pitch. Brother, he stopped watching after July of last year because it was not Nilsson. Mm-hmm. And when you're gonna frame it on him, take a look at the body of work. Like, look at how poor the rest of the team has been in the back from when he's been able to play last year to this year. Like, Taylor Twellman needs to get off his high horse on that one, because ball watchers know that he is quality. Like, Chat City Tactics. He's the only center back that can make a pass that doesn't go 20 yards, 10 yards. Like, he can find a deep ball, and he's a really, really accurate, passing percentage on long balls. It's not him. We need him healthy. But then, we're looking at Tim Parker's big head out over there next to him, and what's he providing him with? No cover, no assistance.
No, they don't play well together. And in fact, we have him on contract until the end of 2026, so 3 more years of him, and he's being paid quite a bit. He's on 1.2 mil a year. He's our 3rd highest player. 4th highest, excuse me. He's on 1.1 million. My apologies, but he's getting paid more than just about every single person. And you have Parker on the last year of his deal as well. I can't imagine there's a world that he gets re-signed. Chris Durkin, I'm unaware of this until literally this moment. He's out of contract at the end of 2024 as well. He's on a 1-year deal. Blom, Vasilev, Jake Nerwinski. Like, so many of these guys are on 1-year deals. So I don't know. I think you bring up a good point, man, of like, yes, we're hopeful that these new attacking signings are going to create some sort of reprieve for our team, but we can't ignore the defense. And if it's not going to be Nilsson, we really need to sort that out, especially with 3 years left. And if it's not going to be Parker, which it seems like it's just, there's no way that we're going to re-sign him. We need to bring in some reinforcements badly.
And where do they come from? Like,
I don't know.
From what I've seen, and again, year 2 watching MLS here, there's not a lot of good center backs in the MLS. Like, Miles Robinson is a Rolls Royce in terms of MLS, and he's making $1 billion now. Like, there's not a good level. So when you say we need reinforcements, who do you look at? Do you go, we're testing the waters with some random Australian kid? Sure. Or, do you go and find and pick off a top MLS center back that still may not be that great? Like, the depth or the player pool for that spot in MLS is slim. So, yeah, where do you go?
I don't know. I guess we got to start watching a lot of Bundesliga 2 over the next year, because that seems to be a good pipeline for us. I don't know. I don't know what the right thing is. It would be hard for me to imagine a world that we make a splash like Miles Robinson. A 1.4 million. I think he is a DP for FC Cincinnati. So like, I think it would be hard for me to believe that we make a splash like that. So I don't know where we go. I think really the only option is someone overseas, but honestly, my Football Manager 24 playtime has gone down immensely over the last 8 months. So I have no scouts over there right now.
Well, and like you said, with all these guys coming up at the end of the contract, like this is year 3 of your FIFA manager career, where all these young kids that you bought at the beginning of your tenure are coming up, and some are high, some are down. Like this is a panic summer. Like for the front office, like who do you resign? How much do you resign them for? Are they worth resigning? Who do you not resign, and where do you replace them? Who comes in underneath? Like where is the depth going to be good enough? Like that gives me anxiety, and I'm not even paid by the club. So like that's a terrifying view of what we're going to look at in the next couple of months and at the end of October.
There's a lot of people. I mean, you bring up a perfect point of like, you're 3 years into your project. Lutz is 3 years into his project. And I think when we let go of Carnell, right choice, regardless of what the results have looked like post Carnell, it was the right choice to make. But whoever Lutz and co decide is going to be the next full-time head coach for our squad, that's directly on him. And he is 3 years into his career mode. He immediately is going to have a target on his back. And I think Dobe said it several weeks ago, and you said it as well, Hoove, of like, we put a lot of blind trust in this guy, and he's going to have to start producing the magic. So we have this one, the 2-0 game against Seattle. And it just, by the way, salt in the wound that John Bell scores. The center back.
It had to be John, dude.
Bradley Carnell just fucked off. I mean, I don't think that John Bell was like the right guy for us at all. Like, I remember watching him play the like 3 times that he played last year, and me being like, it's like the same thing that I felt against John Nilsson, where I was just like, how is this guy playing? But we go from there into a 1-1 tie in Kansas City. And not gonna lie, the first half, cool. Like, I felt like we were playing better than what we've seen. We were high pressing. We were forcing a fuck ton of turnovers for them, especially those first 10 minutes of the game. We were all over them. And I think maybe like right after the 10-minute mark, maybe right before, Kansas City gets like one counterattacking chance, and then St. Louis goes, oh shit. And Berkey has to, be the guy that we think he is. An absolutely vintage performance from Roman Berkey, and without him, we'd be so fucked, man. So, how did this game sit with you all now being 48 hours removed? That good, huh? That awesome?
It was like, okay, set the scene. Kansas City's terrible. Like, we're bad. They're bad. You have to pick up points in the position that we're in if you want to even think about sniffing the playoffs. You just got to be picking up points, and especially against teams that aren't in the playoffs or playoff line. And this is one of those games. We've not had great success in Kansas City. I don't think we've won a match there yet. 2 draws, couple losses. So it was never going to be an easy match, and especially considering our position and form. Just want a little bit more, and especially in a situation where the one goal that they had 100% should have been prevented.
Yes.
Like that's the frustrating aspect. We're not a team that can close out a tight 1-0 win. We've never been that team. We need to score 2-3 goals. That's fine. I know that that's not our emphasis, but when you look at individual moments of, that ball getting whipped in, close him down harder. Hebert's got to be there. Tim Parker was in no man's land. Tim was marking air on a very dangerous cross with a defender right behind him, and he came out and he admitted that. So, I respect that he can acknowledge it too. And and Tim's been nothing but class. I think off the field, fan favorite. Like, everyone loves him. He's a great guy. He's doing cool stuff in the city. His face is everywhere. I think he's had a good resurgence in his career in terms of all that. But, like, the production is just not there. And, yeah, one moment, dude. If any game you want to close out a tight 1-1-0, it's this one. And we couldn't do it. So, and as soon as Cedric came off the field, where was the attacking output really going to come from? It's been like that all year. Again, not surprising. But that one goal crushes you in this one. I'm looking past the playoffs here. I don't think we're going to make it. I don't think we've got the resolve. I don't think the guys coming in can do much to change. I don't know the statistical percentage of us being able to make it. We've probably got to win out from here. And, if our defense is leaking goals, Hartle's not going to be back there on the line with Berkey saving shots. Cedric's not either. Like, those things are just not going to change. So it's frustrating from that aspect. In terms of the body of work and the performance itself, it was fine. It was nice to see a new formation. It was nice to see some new ideas. It was nice to have a different tactical look at certain players and getting, Totland up, Klein playing a little bit of the wing back position, things like that are interesting. And that's what Hackworth can do and can get away with. And that's what we've wanted. All we wanted out of Carnell was some tactical flexibility. And he was unable to give us that at all.
Yeah.
So that's a positive in my mind. I think we could be a team that does run 3 to 5 at the back, but we're giving up back post headers on free.
Yeah, it's just it's a mental mistake. Oddly enough, that was like probably Parker's best performance of the season. He had a lot of great tackles, a lot of really good interceptions, and he goes to sleep for one play, and that's what it's the unfortunate part of being a defender. I think sometimes strikers may get 4 shots in a game, and 3 of them are horrible, and 1 of them connects and gets on goal. And unfortunately, with defenders, you make one mistake like that, it's like a keeper. You make one mistake, it's a goal. It's not like we'll get it next time. Yeah. It's a goal. And so unfortunately, we see that happen to Parker. And yeah, it's inexcusable on the back post to let that go. He was defending air, like you said. It's unfortunate. We really could have used those 3 points. And you bring up Cedric. He obviously went 60 minutes. Surprising to me. I would have hammered the over on a 60-minute cameo for Cedric in his first game after training for the last 2 weeks. I thought he would have gone the full 90. What were your thoughts on him? You mentioned Hoof that like we got to see a little bit of a different formation. That was obviously with the inclusion of him in the lineup. But like, what'd you guys think about his movement on the ball, off the ball? What does he bring? Were you convinced on the signing? Like, what were your initial thoughts?
I don't think it can be any worse than what we've got. So that for
nice.
one,
Good call, sick.
For one, we could see a little bit of the future in where he will play positionally, and it looks like he will be a little bit more of that 10. I don't like 2 strikers per se, but when we say 2 strikers, when Giacchini was on the field, I don't think Giacchini played as like a second striker either. He plays underneath. Yeah. It's a 3-4-1-1. It's not a 2 striker system per se. Which was the issue because Klaus was trying to do that for Sam all at the beginning of the year, and it wasn't working. So what I did like were his ability to pick up the ball in tight spaces and find a pass out. I thought he had some really encouraging runs that the ball kind of just kept coming to his feet. It kind of just kept going, and he kept trucking, and we've not seen a ton of people go at defenders on this team since we lost Salio. Like, genuinely the only guy that could point. The only other guy that could, dribble a player. So I saw spurts of that type of quality and what he was able to bring on the ball. And it was nice to see someone competently play the 10 instead of just hoping Klaus could do it. So yeah, he and Lowen, I think, were good, and were a good pairing to play further up the field. Lets Lowen be a little bit more of that deep lying playmaker. So that was positive. And I guess Thorsen's playing striker now, and whatever. So yeah, I think it was positive, and you could tell he was gassed. Like I understand he's not played a competitive game in a really long time, and yes, that is not going to help you when we need you to perform right now. But hopefully that, Leagues Cup gives him some minutes in the legs and he gets to find some form, because again, he's better than what we've got. And this is nothing against Kijima. This is nothing against, that's just what he is. That we brought him over here to be better than those guys. So it was cool to see him start. It was cool to see him in there. I wouldn't say I'm sold on anything yet, but I think, we do have to give that a little bit of time, like we said about Thor, but I hope he gets up to speed faster than Thor. So
yeah. I also want to see a world where we can get Kijima into the starting lineup consistently. He's so good, man.
Yeah.
Like, and the fact is, he's not a 10.
No.
He's not a second striker. Like,
no,
he's an 8. That's what we need him to play. And if we can find a lineup that makes sense, where he gets to be in there, Hartle gets to be in there, Cedric gets to be in there, Leuven gets to be in there, and a 6. You'd assume it would be Durkin, but maybe it's Blom. I don't know. But, the Watts-Blom duo didn't look half bad the majority of the game until it did. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm not fully convinced either. He definitely plays a 10, a true 10. He was making runs that no one else on the team makes. And I think that's just a little bit of reading the game. I think I was, and you all might disagree with me on this, I don't know. I think I was a little underwhelmed by his speed. I don't think I was expecting him to like light the world on fire and him being faster than everyone. But like, I think there was a couple times where he was dribbling like in open field, and I was like, go, like run, like actually do it, like go. And so, I think that was interesting, but hopefully he just continues to get better and better. I mean, he pulled his one shot that he had wide. I think he was offsides anyway, but even just the run that he made to get there, there's only one other time that run has been made all season, and that was Kijima at home. I don't even remember who against, but it's the only other time that run has been made all season. So we'll see. And then when Jake from State Farm also got some minutes. This guy that we thought was going to be a center back played center defensive midfield. So don't know what that means for the future of his positioning or the future of what we thought was going to be the center back stuff. He also was a little leggy. Like, he only had a week of training under his belt, but I'll tell you what, he is not as mobile as maybe some other center midfield options that we have. So I thought that was extremely interesting as well. He looked very slow out there. Winks, what are your thoughts?
I agree with both of you guys, but yeah, Hoove, I think that this was just a glimpse into Cedric specifically, and we've got 3 or 4 guys coming back in August from injury, knock on wood, and I think that getting knocked out of the playoffs officially might be a good thing for us to kind of reset and try some new things without any pressure of, having to win out the rest of the season. And that would allow us to get guys like Cedric and so on and so forth more minutes in the MLS, not just in, Leagues Cup and things like that. I think that there's still a lot of figuring out to do. And, you can't, it's, especially in the MLS, it's, in the Prem, everybody's really quick to judge when, teams make a new signing and he makes his first start and underperforms or overperforms. People are really quick to judge there. And with the MLS, I don't think that, we need to be nearly as judgmental in a first outing, especially when, the team's not fully healthy. We're playing a formation that, that is new to that game. And, there's a lot of variables there. So I don't want to jump to it too quickly, but I couldn't agree more. I think that like the little glimpses that we did see, like the runs and so on and so forth are super important takeaways from his performance. Yeah. So we'll see. You're good.
I like what you said about judging players and how it's just slower in this league. Because I was specifically, when you mentioned that, was thinking of Thor. We can't finish this podcast out without talking about my man who can't wear a headband correctly. 30% of his games, and this is just a spitball number, but 30% of the games he's played in MLS, he started, so he's not been a casual starter. He's not a mainstay, I would say. but I would tell you that he's had enough time in the league now, 3 goals in his last 6 or something. He's probably locked himself into being an MLS player for the rest of his life. Like, it only took a year and a half of him being so mid to confirm that he really can play in this league. And, I don't know what that looks like for us on a future sale, or, it's not even really what I'm thinking about, but like, it's taken him a ton of games to get the speed to figure it out with his teammates. It still doesn't really look like he's on the same page of his teammates. But, scored a decent goal. Like, he made that run, picked up the ball, started cutting inside, falls over, beats a guy, falls over. I just started laughing. Like, I laughed out loud. I was like, this is, oh my God, classic, on brand. Gets back up, questionable defending, 2 more shifts on the right foot. Nice finish. It was a good finish. And Hen was getting clowned on Twitter by Chat City Tactics and a couple of other folks for just beating the drum that it's got to be somebody else up there. And then he scored a goal. But also, like you said, like, defenders get hosed, and the one time that they made a mistake is capitalized by a goal. He didn't do a ton for me. It's not like he won man of the match, because sometimes the city, I swear, doesn't know ball and just votes on the guy that scores the goal. But there wasn't a man of the match performance for me. He scored a good goal when we needed it, and I celebrated it. I wasn't going to be a, negative Nancy. Well, I kind of was, but I wasn't really going to be a negative Nancy. I was laughing. Yeah, exactly. It was just like, so that was, he's gonna get better in my mind. It's just been a slow progression, and maybe it's been the minutes, but like, in the position we're in now, we need results. We do not need to be sitting here and hoping that guys get better. And he came in as a a depth piece, and now here we are, injuries later, and he's an everyday, one of the first names on the team sheet with all these guys out. So it sucks.
There's genuinely there's just no one else. Like, I mean, I was thinking about it. Yeah, like, I mean, he like can't be replaced right now.
Yeah.
Or at least for the last couple of weeks. I mean, now with our next game around the corner, he can be replaced by Cedric. He can be replaced by Hartle. I have no idea whenever Klaus is supposed to come back. I don't know. But genuinely, over the last couple of weeks, he could not be replaced. There's no one else that could have taken his spot. And I think when Cedric came off in the 60th, I was like, okay, here's another 90-minute performance from Thor, because there's just not even a person on the bench that could come off. I mean, Glover can come on, but I mean, I think Thor is the worst player in our starting 11. Comfortably, he's the worst player. And there's a big drop off between Thor and Glover. Glover's 17, man. He's just like, he's just not at the level yet. Thor's 24 and he's still not there. I just think that, unfortunately, it's the product of like necessity at the moment. He's playing as much as he is because there is no one else. And so on like some level, I can be like, Thor, thank you for your service. Without you, we'd be starting a false 9. Appreciate it. But he is not good enough. And I think I'm getting, like you said, who's like, people saying like, they don't know ball in this city based on the man of the match performances. We did get some heat. I specifically got some heat for that tweet of saying like, anyone else up there. But like the amount of tweets I saw later that night or the next day being like, can everyone just apologize to Thor now?
Oh,
and I'm like, shut the fuck up.
There's a specific tweet. Don't even know who it was. It was like, your apologies better be as loud as your disrespect. Like, I'm not apologizing for Jack right now, bro. Are you kidding me?
He's so bad.
I'm scoring a goal with all the minutes that he's played this year. You find me in the box at some point, I'm going to tuck one. I know you are. I would love to see Winks or Dobes in some sort of simulated game be able to play the 10 or the 9 for this team. And I feel like I'm going to see some good ball. Like, don't give me the your apologies better be as loud as your disrespect. No, he hasn't done anything. We're in second to last place with 3 goals on the year. There are no apologies coming from the Mecca boys.
I also don't think he understands like how talking shit in footy specifically as a sport works. Like, very rarely does anybody apologize, even if they are wrong. So
Apologize. Do it
Yeah,
now.
I'll apologize when he scores 12 goals in a year and is a mainstay and first name on the team sheet. I'll be like, hey, man,
Clip
come
it,
a
chat.
long way.
Next year, 2025. Clip it.
Okay.
Andy Hoover apologizing.
I will apologize to Thor, heartfelt from deep, if he comes out and makes himself one of the best players on the team. That's progression. That's growth. Like, we've watched him. He's not done that. There's been no inkling of a scenario where we were like, oh, man, there's some talent with this kid. Like Kijima, we're all watching Kijima like baller. This kid's a baller. He doesn't have the minutes. He doesn't have the legs. He's not been in the league long enough. He's still a youth, young product. But like, there's so much of a future that we all see for him. There's not been anything from Thor that I've been like, oh, that was really nice. There's something in there. Like, it's just been mediocre, and he finds himself in the right place at the right time and is set up by teammates well. So don't give me this. Don't give me an apology.
On this podcast, if Thor ever hits 12 goals in the MLS, we will raffle off a Thor jersey. We will do it. We will happily. We might do 3. I don't know. We will happily do it, and we'll happy get on the train. But until that happens, I'm holding firm to.
I'll DM him
to my thoughts.
to sign it. I'll DM him to sign it and be like, hey, man, I was one of your biggest haters, but we're going to raffle off your jersey because you've been so great this year. And I apologize. I'll screenshot it. I'll post it. I'll let him know. I'll let everyone know. I want this to happen. That's the thing. We sit here and we talk this shit, but it's because we care and we want these guys to do well, and we're rooting for them game after game. And when they're not giving us anything, and people are like, why can't you just get behind the team? Like, brother, that's all we've ever done is get behind the team. And now we're in last. Yeah. Don't give me that.
Yeah. I want to shout out.
Talking shit like you just said.
It's true.
What?
St. Louis City SC Views on Instagram. He's fantastic. He provides like really great content, but he said something after the last game that really made me think. He said that we have a top 8 in the MLS roster when we're totally healthy, which is kind of maybe a crazy statement, maybe not. But when you think about it, like, if we have all of the pieces right now, if we have everyone healthy, if we have everyone ready to rock, like, could we go up against the top talents? Probably yes. Like, if we have everyone firing on all cylinders, we really have that talent. It's just this year, we just cannot stay healthy. We can't get lucky. And I think in all of our fandom, of our Prem teams, of our national teams, like, we've seen this at different times where just the pieces aren't coming together at the right time. And unfortunately, the season that is 2023, 2024, that's what's happening, unfortunately.
It is what happens, and it happens at every club. And, you can hang your hat on a lot of that. Like, I watched Ben Davies and Emerson Royale play center back as a pairing for a full month in London. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you expect out of that? You can't expect anything too great. All you can hope is that they put on for the badge and the shirt that they wear. And I think that happens. I'm not ready to call out, I'm not ready to question drive or motivation, or I think these guys, all they really do is want to win. And they're a tight group. We saw it last year. They love playing here. They love playing with the boys. It's just when you're injury stricken, and then there's underperformances from the guys that you saw do well last year, and there's tactical issues and personnel issues on and off the field. The culmination of all that causes angry football fans. Like, it just is what it is. We're not the Mecca of hugs and kisses. We say it all the time. We want performances. We expect performances. We pay out good money for performances. I donate $100 every single time I go to that stadium, not even factoring in my ticket price. So, like, we are the people that have the stake in this game just as much as those guys do. But again, it's all for the love. It's all for all of it. It's all for them. We want this. We wouldn't have a following if people wanted us to just come on here and be like, well, we almost had them down there in Kansas City. Like, no.
Yep.
Get fired up. Get fired up.
St. Louis in the MLS is going away for a little bit. We have the Leagues Cup break. A little bit interesting. Obviously, there's a massive boycotting of the Leagues Cup across season ticket holders. I'll be curious to see what that stadium looks like on TV because I will not be going. But
Yeah.
the Leagues Cup will give us a pretty cool opportunity to watch our new signings, probably get some really good clock. So hopefully when we get up and running, I think September 1st might be our first game back. Beginning of September, first game back in the MLS. Hopefully we can hit the ground running and make some sort of push. Even if it ends up not in the playoffs, I would love to see us go above 500 the last couple of games
Finish
of the
strong.
season.
Yeah.
If we can finish this last part of the season like a new season, and we can be above 500 for those games, that'd be great to see. The city needs it, and we'll be ready to go and cheer the boys off. Have a good postseason, or excuse me, after the season, and get ready for February. So the Leagues Cup is coming around. I don't know what's going to come from this podcast during the Leagues Cup break, honestly.
Yeah,
there's
I don't
a lot
either.
of discourse going around on the St. Louis City podcasts, Twitters right now, and everyone's just kind of having a public conversation of what are we going to do? Are we going to talk? Are we not going to talk? The Premier League preseason will be ramping up in August with the Premier League kickoff a couple weeks away. So you'll get some content from us for sure when it comes to Prem stuff. But for St. Louis coverage, we don't know. We'll keep the listeners posted as we learn more. But gentlemen, good work.
If Hartle scores a hat trick against somebody, I'm going to be shirtless on this podcast, just flexing in the camera because we're going to have to talk about that. But
yeah,
I don't see a world where we're all just sitting down chopping it
Did
up
you
again.
see the Leagues Cup?
Yeah, no, hey, we're US we're US Open Cup truthers over here. We stick with the lag, we stick with the history.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, fellas, until the next time, that's it for this week's episode of the Mecca of Banter. Want to remind the listeners that you can get 20% off on manscaped.com using promo code MECCA20. Check us out on all the social medias, the TikToks, Instagram, and Twitters. And until next time, cheers, fellas.
Boys.
Cheers, boys.